Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Black Moon Lilith, square opposition or inconjunct one's natal ascendant. Now, when transit Black Moon Lilith basically makes an adverse aspect to one's natal ascendant, well, first I'm going to elaborate on that. When I say basically adverse aspect, okay. Squares and oppositions, of course, those aspects in astrology are adverse and negative. Now, the inconjunct aspect is neutral, but a neutral aspect can have good and bad qualities, and I'm coupled with the fact that an inconjunct can often require an adjustment or transition, so that in turn can cause some exasperation and tension. Now, so the thing is, so basically, collectively, I do see it as an adverse transit, but again, when transit Black Moon Lilith is basically making an adverse aspect to the natal ascendant, it may manifest in trauma, could be suffering. It's also the negative manifestation of the sign, something nefarious or even fixation. Those things may conflict with the physical body. It could be maybe you're experiencing trauma that naturally is obviously affecting the physical body, but making it difficult to do things that you ordinarily were able to do previously. The transit, let's say transit Black Moon Lilith is in Gemini. It could be something with the arms, the hands, or the nerves. That could be affecting what you can do as far as physical level. And the thing about this too is that trauma, Black Moon Lilith again is connected with trauma. It could be physical or emotional suffering, and it could adversely affect the appearance as well. Because the thing is, if you're feeling disconsolate, or if this is just simply emotional suffering, naturally, your appearance might be affected negatively as a result. You might not be have that enthusiasm to take care of yourself as far as how you appear to others. Even if let's say if the ascendant is in Virgo, and Virgo ascendant likes to be often very neat, meticulous, almost immaculate. They want it also flawless or perfect. But if you have this transit and it's making an adverse aspect to, again, as an example of Virgo ascendant, well, it might even affect a Virgo ascendant adversely in terms of their appearance. Now, the ascendant is also connected with vitality and energy. And the thing about this is your energy and vitality naturally can be affected negatively. If you're going through some kind of emotional trauma or physical trauma, or you might even be dealing with something nefarious or what you see as nefarious or evil in your life. If you have the transit Black Moon Lilith in the fourth house, it could be some kind of very it could be a family member that might be bringing some very negative energy. It could be, say if the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Leo in the fourth house, it could be a very domineering, arrogant family member that might be causing some problems, and maybe it's taking its toll on your energy level, your vitality. It might be draining you physically, at this time. And also keep in mind that since the Black Moon Lilith is connected with obsession and fixation, that it could be, you might be overly obsessed on new beginnings or the physical body, your appearance. Don't let it get to a point where these things may dominate your existence during this transit. And the thing about this too is also Black Moon Lilith can also be connected, with death. So it can be a situation if you have experienced a death, or even if it was a death that took place some time ago, if you're lamenting over it, or you're brooding, or I should say really you're mourning the person, I should say, it might be something where it might negatively impact you making new starts, new beginnings at this time, where maybe there's some stalling or there's some procrastination in connection with that at this time, because whether it's a death that may have recently taken place or it's something that could have even taken place years ago, that maybe you for whatever reason you might be thinking about it and still mourning it over it at this time. And it could be where it might affect you even physically, perhaps as far as your energy and vitality level at this time negatively. The ascendant is also connected with the early child. Could be people that were prominent during your early childhood. So this could be a time where maybe this transit could manifest in being overly obsessed or fixated, perhaps with someone from your early childhood. There's some cases it may be on a sexual level. If you're like unattached, you don't have significant other, it might be a tower. It could simply be even on a platonic level, one could be obsessed with the person, whether it's just simply trying to get in contact with him or her, or what have you. This is something where the natal ascendant could also be connected with the grandparent. So it might be a time where maybe could be a grandparent might be expressing some negative or even obsessive qualities. Maybe it could be at this time where maybe physically it could be some trauma that you could be experiencing, whether it's on a physical or an emotional level, maybe conflicting with activities, perhaps with somebody from your early childhood or a grandparent at this time. This is something too where when you look at this transit as well, this is something too. The Black Moon Lilith is also, it's connected again with trauma, but it's also could be very negative energy as well. And if you're carrying any of this negative energy associated with the sign and the house that it's in, it might be more difficult to keep it from a grandparent, someone prominent in your early childhood at this point in time. And the thing about this too is the ascendant is also connected with defense mechanisms. So it might be bringing out, when you have this transit, there could be something with this where, whether you're dealing with physical or emotional trauma at this time, or death may have taken place, it might be something where it's bringing out the negative defensive energy of your ascendant. If the natal ascendant is in Taurus, it might be bringing out an overly stubborn or obstinate or unyielding quality at this time. And the ascendant is also about first impressions. So it might be more difficult to make a good first impression on somebody at this point in time. The Black Moon Lilith is also, could be connected with what puts one in a strong state of fright or trepidation. And the thing about this is, the ascendant is about new starts. So the fact that when you're talking about basically an adverse aspect in transit, it might be something where you're dealing with some strong fear, or it could just simply be where trying to start something new may be too agonizing. You might be overly apprehensive regarding this doing so at this time, because again, the Black Moon Lilith can be connected with what puts one in a strong state of fright or trepidation. There could be something that might be frightful that you're dealing with that might make it more difficult to make new starts at this time. And it might also be infecting your outlook in general at this time. Even like, say, if your ascendant is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius rising outwardly can be very upbeat, optimistic, and expansive, jocular. And when you have this transit, though, you could be dealing with some negative energy, very negative energy, that could be impacting even a Sagittarius rising, who could be very outwardly very jovial. And the ascendant is also connected with qualities and attributes that are naturally expressed. So, if you're dealing with any trauma, whether it's on a physical or an emotional level, those qualities that are naturally expressed, might be more negative. That may be coming out this time. It might be harder to express those positive qualities associated with your particular ascendant. If the ascendant is in Gemini, for example, it could be very vivacious and very talkative, whimsical energy, versatile energy. And that energy might be harder to bring out at this time, as an example. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. And now the ascendant is also connected with the outer demeanor. And the thing about this is, if you're dealing, again, with some very negative energy, it might be reflected on what you're bringing out to others and what people are saying. You're that outer demeanor that people, how you resonate with others easily, that energy that comes out that you may, that you strongly resonate with, at least outwardly or superficially, because it is the ascendant. It could be where physical or emotional trauma is affecting your outer demeanor very negatively. Or you might be overly fixated simply on making a first impression at this time. It can be something also to the ascendant is our facade. It's what we project outwardly to others. And the thing about this is, if you're really dealing, again, some emotional or physical trauma, that energy, associated with your facade and going back to the defense mechanisms. I mean, this could be very, more of a negative, type of energy at this time. And the thing about, and it could be where you might be overly fixated on that projection of self and what you want to bring outwardly to others. And it is, again, the ascendant is the facade. That's really what it is. And anyway, and the thing about this is, another way this transit may manifest, it could be where you may be overly fixated on the physical body and the appearance. Now, let's say if the ascendant is in Gemini, it could be something where if you're a bodybuilder, say you work out vigorously, it could be doing something to increase the size of your arms, because that's connected with Gemini, or keeping a very youthful countenance or appearance, as some examples. Also, too, it may be more difficult to keep what you want suppressed, which is the Black Moon Lilith. It could be from a grandparent or someone prominent in your early childhood. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit Black Moon Lilith is in Aquarius in the second house, it could be, maybe it was something where you may have caused some dissension, in the astrology community. Of course, Aquarius could be associated with that. And it might have been to help your self-worth, which is the second house. This could be very isolated, though, as an example. Now, also, to trauma, which is the Black Moon Lilith, may adversely affect your new beginnings, which is connected with the ascendant. Now, let's say if the ascendant is in Virgo, as an example. Using Virgo as an example, again, it could be doing something with detailing, or health profession, or working as a statistician, something with analytics. Also, to people that are prominent in your life, which is the Black Moon Lilith, may conflict with really the interests that are more associated with the self, which can be connected with the ascendant. Now, if the ascendant is in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be doing something with sports or horses, something with adventure or exploration, as some examples. And also to physical trauma, which again is connected with the Black Moon Lilith, may have a negative effect on your vitality and your energy. And let's say if the ascendant is in Leo, as an example, Leo ascendant might have near inexorable energy, but it could still be impacted negatively if you're experiencing strong trauma at the time of this transit. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.